I don't see any remarkable difference between the Nnamdi Kanu of the old and the Nnamdi Kanu of 21st October. The only thing I discerned, I could see, was that he has lost a lot of weight. I think everybody noticed that. So I do believe that the loss of weight has a whole lot to do with the conditions of his detention in Nigeria, which is very restrictive and uncomfortable and very degrading. And I think also it's indicative of what he passed through in Kenya when he was renditioned there in late June 2021.
So apart from the weight loss, nothing again what you see?
Before his rendition, Nnamdi Kanu was receiving treatment for a heart condition called heart murmur. And, you know, of course, he has an extreme form of hypertension. His medical report is a matter for public consumption through the facility of the processes we filed in that regard. He was receiving treatment in Texas, United States, back in February this year for that. And when he entered Kenya sometime in May, he also made contact with a hospital in Kenya to treat these conditions. And these conditions persist. And our thesis, our position is that the DSA's facility is, you know, a poster exemplar of what detention facilities in Nigeria are like in terms of inadequacy of medical facilities. I don't believe that DSA's facility has the competence or the medical competence to take care of his medical condition, which we consider life-threatening.
Okay, now we don't finish for the appearance. Many Nigerians want to know what happened inside the court during the trial. Even doctor people, journalists, we're supposed to bring out information, they don't allow some of them enter inside the court. So you fit tell us what happened for inside the courtroom before and after Nnamdi Kanu pleaded not guilty?
What happened was that, you know, it took a little while before they brought him inside. So when they brought him inside, it wasn't in chains. If you recall, on 29 June 2021, when they presented him subsequent to the rendition, he was in chains. He was in manacles, and that's unconstitutional. You shouldn't be doing that to suspects. Nigerian Constitution says you shouldn't. The Supreme Court of Nigeria said you shouldn't. So they, well, anyway, on 21st October, they didn't. So he wasn't in manacles, he wasn't in handcuffs. So he walked freely inside the confines of the courtroom, and, you know, he received salutations from his counsel and gathered other people who were in the court, and we had opportunity to have photo opportunities with him. We snapped pictures with him, and it was a more relaxed atmosphere from what it was the last time he wasn't presented in court. It wasn't raucous, it wasn't noisy, and only few people were, of course, allowed inside the courtroom, and I believe that had more to do with the COVID protocols. Of course, you know, the prosecution made a presentment of the amended charges. If you recall, they had amended these charges a few days to the hearing, and again, they did another amendment, which I considered more of sua sponte on the spot. And of course, there was no opportunity that the defense has. I don't think we were given sufficient opportunity to go home and study these charges to see how our client would respond to them. But again, the judge wanted a plea to be taken, and that's exactly what happened. So a plea was taken, and I don't think that has prejudiced the challenges, the constitutional challenges we have to these charges, which will come up on the 10th of November.
Okay, on Friday, the Attorney General of the Federation, the Minister of Defense, Abubakar Malami, he hold press conference on Friday, and me too, I've been there. He read plenty things where Nnamdi Kanu and the IPOB do. Some of the things we talk, he say, in some accused for Nnamdi Kanu, saying instigate violent attacks for democratic institutions like correctional centers, police stations, INEC offices, and others between October 2020 and June 2021. As Malami talked this thing on Friday, you don't tell your client, Nnamdi Kanu, about this latest developments.
You have asked me this question now about the press conference that was done by the Attorney General on Friday. It's quite surprising that a day after these hearings, I think it was a day after or 2 days after, the Attorney General saw the occasion to address a press conference that is diametrically removed from what happened in court. You see, Attorney General should be reminded that, despite his duality of role under Nigerian Constitution, he's also the Attorney General of everybody. His job is not regime protection. His job is to uphold the law and see that justice is done to every Nigerian citizen, and even foreigners who happen to find themselves in Nigeria. What he appears to be saying on Friday is akin to saying that the witch cried at night and the baby died in the morning. Therefore, the witch killed the baby. You see, he read off all these allegations without substance. He never presented any evidence. And we have this particular one concerning the NSAS protest. We had commissions of inquiry across the country, particularly in Lagos, and I think they had one in Imo State as well that I know personally about, and there was nothing from any of these commissions of inquiry that returned an indictment of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or IPOB in the aftermaths of the NSAS protest. So that accusation was made in bad faith, and it's intended to poison the minds of the public and also to prejudice the mind of the court as well. It's a highly prejudicial interview, and we are studying the contents to see whether there is going to be any legal reactions that should come from our side.
Okay, we never finish with the accusation where Malami Nakfor Nnamdi Kanu said. He also told say on 21st October 2020, your client do online calling radio program for when you use Radio Biafra to instigate IPOB members and NSAS.
Wait, listen, I understand the question. You see, this matter is sub judice.
I want to break it down.
No, I can't allow us to go into an excursion of what is before a competent court of law in Nigeria. If the Attorney General doesn't want to keep the rules of sub judice, this is a matter before the court. If he has any evidence that our client was caught up in any wrongdoing or criminality, he should know better than anybody else that the proper forum for presentation of that evidence is a court of law, not calling press conferences. So if the Attorney General is preempting the Nigerian judiciary, if the Attorney General is disrespecting the Federal High Court, I will not play that game and stay here and disrespect the Federal High Court. I will wait for him to come before the court with any evidence that he claims to possess, so we can meet him in court toe to toe. If there was any radio program, a respected medium like BBC could have been aware of it more than my humble self. So if the Attorney General monitored any radio program, I think there was something about a radio program that was monitored in Enugu, not in Abuja. And you begin to wonder, what is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu doing, facing a Federal High Court in Abuja? He should be facing a Federal High Court in Enugu. So there are just so many issues here bordering on prosecutorial misconducts of the extreme degree, and these things will be ventilated better within the confines of where we have the privilege of ventilating these things, which is the courtroom. I should not be seen to be subjecting or succumbing to these antics by the Attorney General of subjecting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to a media trial. You said the press conference was on Friday. Today is Saturday. So I'm telling you, we are studying the contents of the press conference to see whether it is necessary for us as lawyers to join issues with him in the media or to wait for him in open court. Well, that brings me to the constitutional action that I brought on behalf of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu before the High Court of Abia State. That action, as you all know, is called Fundamental Rights Action. And same Attorney General has filed an application before the High Court of Abia State requesting for extension of time to respond. So why did he now turn around, instead of responding to the suit that I filed in Abia State or filing whatever he has before the High Court in Abuja? Now he turns around to come before the media to be spewing out all these accusations that lack substance and material evidence. So that is the question. The question, again, I'll repeat, is if the Attorney General has something that he believes to be cogent and material, he has a forum where he should present those things, and that forum is not before the Nigerian public, but before the courts of the land, which are now considering the various processes that are ongoing before them.
You were responding to the accusation by the Attorney General of the Federation, when he talks, Nnamdi Kanu provoke IPOB members and ESM members to carry out the killings of APC chieftain Ahmed Bola and the husband to late Gigi of NAFDAC, Dora Akunyili, Mr. Chike Akunyili, say now him now instigate IPOB and ESM members to carry out those killings. How you go react?
Well, regarding these accusations by the Attorney General that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu instigated certain killings, including that of Dr. Akunyili and the APC chieftain and the others, the unrest that we have in Anambra State at this point in time. That's what I think he's referring to. I am here to tell you that we have charges in open court. The Attorney General have filed charges that don't contain these allegations. So I think the best place to address these allegations, or if he has any evidence, is the courtroom before the Federal High Court, coming to the Nigerian public to begin to adduce new allegations that are different from what is before the court, I think is improper.
Now maybe talk about what concerning this and the Anambra elections. The elections will happen November 6th. So what do you think about the democratic dispensation of your clients as it relates to the November 6th election for Anambra State?
Well, you see, there are more important issues in Nigeria than elections. Elections can come and go, but those issues will remain. The issues are clear, that a lot of people who are Nigerians are no longer happy being Nigerians. It doesn't make them unpatriotic. It doesn't make them criminal. One of the ways citizens express their unhappiness with the system or with how their country is going is by engaging in agitations. And my clients happen to be engaged in agitation. And that agitation is informed by their right to self-determination, which is not a crime. I don't think criminalizing the demand of a people, of millions of people. You see, this is beyond the IPOB. The restiveness in this country is also rampant in the western part of the country. And parts of the north are also restive. I'm not talking about the terrorists in the north, but civil restiveness. So it indicates an overall unhappiness that is coming from vast majority of Nigerians with the way things are, with the way the system is structured. And that is something that does not deserve a bullet. It does not